Welcome to a new update. Today we are talking about the altcoins which sometimes are moving, and we're going to look at them if we're going to see continuation, because Bitcoin is showing strength too. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, also check out our other social media channels where I'm providing all information you need when we are assessing the markets, which might be going towards the final stage of the bear market. As left and right, we see some altcoins breaking out. And yes, you might argue that the altcoins are breaking out based on just simply liquidity, or that there is a VC pumping them. Anyway, there is volatility in the markets and you can trade altcoins. You can invest into altcoins because altcoins are currently super undervalued. And as I discussed in the previous updates, when it comes to the altcoins are currently so undervalued that it's time to invest in DCA into them, because right now is the period where the lowest confidence is found in the altcoins because we are approximately 6 to 8 months prior to the Bitcoin halving, which is usually the best moment to start investing into those, and that's what we're going to discuss in this update. But before we continue, my partner Bitfavo is the go-to place where I'm investing into my altcoins, which means that if I want to invest into altcoins, which I do, I've got multiple portfolios. I've got a trading portfolio, a swing trade portfolio, which is usually defined by having multiple assets at the right moment in time. At least that's what I'm trying. Of course, I'm also underwater at some periods, and I invest. And the swing trades and the investment portfolio for altcoins I do with Bitfavo, because then it's separated from the trading stack. At Bitfavo, they've got more than 200 altcoins that you can be trading, and if you sign up, you can see that's the easiest user experience you can find in the markets out there. It's super smooth, super easy. You can stake your assets there and you get a welcome bonus of 10 euros if you sign up on the account, and you get 10,000 euros of free trading. Now, when we're looking at the markets, first of all, I think I have to show Bitcoin, which is currently doing a pretty good job. No follow through yet. It seems very likely that we're going to have some more consolidation before we can have continuation, but at least we are seeing some momentum, which is comparable to this period, right? So we had a big crash downwards here. We've got a consolidation. We sweep the low. Then we break up, we consolidate, and we continue to chop before the real breakout takes place. And I think if I look at the structure right now, this is ultimately very comparable. And I think we're going to have a very similar case here with the markets, through which you can easily define a few important levels for Bitcoin in that way. Which is, I think, as long as we stay above this low at 25.3 to 25.6, it's very easy to conclude that we're going to have more continuation to the upside here, especially if you can start looking at the effect of the 200 weekly EMA, which I'm still referring to as a very important indicator. If we hold a 200 week EMA here, it sounds like we're going to have a continuation to the upside. If we would not be holding above, we would have been crashing through it this week. So we tested the low, which is very comparable to what we witnessed in 2015 to 2016, as we are currently also having a relatively long cycle. We swept the low here, consolidate, and then we start to break upwards from the end of September to October and peak in November here, which ended up in consolidation again, which is very comparable, because then you're going to have a pre-halving run at some point, correction, and then continuation. So I think that scenario is going to play out again. In that way, this week we tried to break beneath the actual low. So we tried to break beneath the levels. We took out the liquidity, and a very strong bounce upwards took place, which usually means that the downside is covered at this point. So if this weekly is going to be closing like it is, and we're going to see Bitcoin surrounding, or at least holding above the 200 week EMA and towards 26.6 for instance, that is for me a signal that we are going to have continuation to the upside, probably in a very slow manner, but the acceleration will take place, and the odds of having a low here is pretty significant. Now, the total market cap is beneath the 200 week EMA, so I'll just make sure that we use the range bound construction. But what we can see is that we're also testing the low. I've marked it here. We had a downward trend. We are currently making an upward trend in which we are holding support again. We are just making a range bound construction, and from here onwards we most likely are going to have the continuation to the upside. It's not likely that we are failing this trend. It's more likely that we continue to have a trend which is going to blast us towards 2 trillion, 1.6 to 2 trillion in the next months. The total altcoin market cap basically the same, also retesting support, so it's a trigger. And if I'm looking at these charts, I think what I want to see in the next 1 to 2 weeks is that we see continuation. So in the next 1 to 2 weeks, you want to see some more strength on the altcoins coming up, or at least on the entire market cap. And that can be through news of Ethereum ETF futures being applied, Grayscale and the SEC. All are arguments that we might be getting there. When we're looking at the others at the dominance, we can see that the low was already in and we're just consolidating at this point. So we have to look at Ether against Bitcoin, which is failing at this point. We've had a low here. I'll just erase it, but we had some lows here. It seems likely that we might be getting some more downwards momentum here. The actual low took place in September of 2019 here too, and we had some retests taking place around the same area in January and December. I think the trend is still down and we're still close towards low. Perhaps if Bitcoin is going to make a substantial break to the upside, we're going to have a retest at 0.059. But I think currently, if ETF futures are going to be applied, we are into a corrective move that is going to mark the low at that news. So that's probably 1 to 2 weeks more of downwards momentum, and then we can start arguing that we can have continuation to the upside. But I don't believe that we're going to fall beneath this level. And because of this fact, we can also conclude that the dominance is still showing some upside here, still comparable to this period, where we also had some upside in September taking place, and the actual downwards move started to happen at some point later, which I think we will be having overall too. So I think in terms of investment purposes, the altcoins are still crucial to invest in. And I'm always taking Chainlink, you know that I do. What do we see with Chainlink is that we've had this nice low, we've got a deviation, and we've got a retest, which is holding. And if this holds, we're going to take it to the upside, which means that in the next period, comparable to the period we witnessed here, we might be able to see a strength coming into Chainlink against Bitcoin. And that's not only Chainlink against Bitcoin, it is on multiple altcoins, which you can see right now. And then you also still have coins like Cyber, which are making a massive move to the upside and correct all the way back down. This is what we're going to see more often. So I give you a few tips. Don't chase them. If you want to take a position into these altcoins, it shows you a few important things. First of all, you should realize that if altcoins really start to move, they take out the losses of the past few years in a matter of weeks. That's why you need to invest right now into those, accumulate those, because once it starts to run, you're too late. Second, if you want to trade these, trade them with a clear plan. Stop loss, take profit, 1% risk on your portfolio, because you can easily scalp these assets. Cyber did this, Perp did this, and these few altcoins are coming back all the way back down because they are being fueled just to get the liquidity out of it. But most likely we're going to see more of these altcoin runs taking place, which is going to be happening with all those altcoins overall. Solana, for instance, is currently fighting a crucial resistance. What I can tell to you is that the moment that we're going to make the break of 19.50, we're going to accelerate towards the highs at 28.80. And then you can start buying support resistance flips, which we have also been doing in June, which you could also have been doing here. And it's very comparable to the consolidation that we have been witnessing before we started to have this expansion. So that is basically what the markets are going to do. More of these altcoins are on edge too. Anchor, for instance, if that consolidates and take out this high, I assume we're going to watch 2.7 cents. Trade them. And invest in them, you can do that at Bitvavo. I'll be back on Tuesday with another update. Ciao!